Here we are in October of 2021. We're going to give our third update for the volatile architectural metal market, steel and aluminum, here going into the fourth quarter and into 2022. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Metal Roofing channel. I'm Barnette, and make sure you subscribe if you're new. We release metal roofing and metal construction content every Monday and Wednesday. Well, we're back with another metal market update, architectural metal market update here in October of 2021. You know, where we've been, where we are, and kind of where we're going. So I have Adam Mazzella from Sheffield Metals with me. Adam, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Thad. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So today we're going to talk a little bit about where we're going with the metal market. So, you know, give me up to this point, what are we looking at?
Yeah, so, you know, if we're looking at kind of what has changed since last time, I don't know that a whole lot has changed. Supply chains continue to be squeezed really across the board, whether you're looking at raw materials, you know, everyone's hearing about the chip shortages, supply chain issues, transportation issues, boats caught in port, you name it. I think what we have seen, and some things we're starting to see a little bit, is some of the, I guess, steel increases are starting to level off, it seems. There's a lot that could impact that, whether it goes up or down, but we've really start to see these increases slowing down significantly. If you're putting paint on something, though, however, paint is continuing to rise. You know, there's a lot of PVDF shortages as it relates to the architectural metals world. Wow. So that's going up. It's still slow to get a lot of metal, so some people are behind. If you're buying import metal, you know, oftentimes it's slower than you anticipated to get here. So ideally, we're seeing the steel world peak. When you look at the aluminum world, that still is continuing to rise sharply. Steel seemed to start jumping up quicker earlier this year, I would say late last year and into earlier this year. Where aluminum was a little bit more stable. And as we've gotten farther into the year, where steel has started to stabilize, aluminum is now sharply on the incline. So
Gotcha. So let's go back to steel for a second. In some of the previous updates we've done, you mentioned new mills coming online. Sure. And that increase in capacity there. Is that something that's continuing to ramp up?
So there are some new mills coming online. You know, they almost couldn't come on fast enough, but at the same token, with the price of steel starting to stabilize, it's almost like we're good with the time that they come on, because with increased supply, that should start pushing the number down. So, you know, ultimately, one of the worst things that I think we could see in the market would be a sharp decline in price. So I think the mills that are going to come online are going to be fairly intelligent about how they do it. Certainly, you know, you want to hurry up. That's a big investment, but at the same time, you want to make sure that you don't tank the market. Yeah. I don't know that they're bringing enough volume to the market over the next 20 months to tank the market. However, SDI has a couple of mills coming online. Nucor has some capacity coming online. U.S. Steel just announced another mill that they're going to have an electric arc furnace coming online. So a lot of great investment in the market, which, you know, wherever the market goes over the next several years, they're going to need to be more efficient, more competitive on a global stage, as well as, you know, these electric arc furnaces are going to be more competitive in the future, as, you know, requirements globally are going to push them into carbon neutral footprints and what they need to do to be competitive, you know, decades out, not just what they need to be competitive in 2022 or 23.
Got it. So you mentioned aluminum is still rising. Why is that?
You see aluminum composite panels. You see standing seam being more prevalent, particularly around the coast. You know, you look for a high-end roofing system and you're near a coast, you're going to want something that lasts. And we've illustrated that elsewhere. Definitively becoming more popular, not just with us, but throughout the market. But additionally, you know, you're seeing a shift globally in the types of products, more sustainable products. So you've probably seen wine in cans, you've seen water in cans. These cans are typically aluminum cans, and you're going to see a lot more of that moving forward. And a lot of it is to move away from plastics, and there's a real shift going on right now across all markets. So aluminum is in extreme high demand. There's really no new capacity coming on domestically. Over the last couple of years, there have been some issues with domestic supply and mill breakdowns and fires and things like that. Ideally, we're past all these things, so we can kind of float through the next year and get this market stable. But I really think aluminum is going to continue to have a lot of pressure because demand is so high, and it's not just architectural products.
Let's keep this conversation about demand going. We talked about the demand for aluminum, but what about the construction industry overall? You know, we've discussed how high the demand for new build construction, remodeling, all that has been on the rise throughout 2020, 2021. Are we still seeing that? Is the outlook still the same for that?
Yeah, and I think demand is going to stay high. I think one of the things that is kind of keeping that demand high as long as it has been is the lack of labor that's really available. I mean, consistently, we go from contractor to customer, across the board. There's a lot of people that are having labor issues, labor shortages, and it's kind of, you think about what could the construction demand really be if the labor was there, to meet it. Demand is there. I think demand will stay there unless there is somehow, some way, a massive influx of skilled workers, skilled trades. But as long as I've been in Sheffield Metals, is like the number one thing that customers tell me is, man, I need good people. If I could just get more good people. I just think there's even bigger strain on that right now. I think demand will continue to be there. You just hope that pricing pressure doesn't start pricing some of that demand out of play. Nobody seems to have that crystal ball though.
Let's talk about the outlook for the metal market for some different groups of people in the industry. Let's start with homeowners and building owners. What can they expect?
I think the thing to expect is things just take longer, whether it's because of labor shortages, whether it's because things just aren't happening as fast. A lot of things just aren't happening as fast because of, some of the weather events that we've had, the big freeze, the hurricane. A lot of these chemical supplies, petroleum-based suppliers, petroleum-based items are really in high demand. They're really strained right now. So supply chains are seemingly kind of choked everywhere. And then, you look at the chip shortage, it's really hard for companies to reinvest into capital equipment right now because capital equipment takes longer to get, whether it's a forklift or whether it's a new manufacturing line. People may want to reinvest, but things are just slow right now. So that has a cascading effect. The labor shortage has a cascading effect. So, I'm kind of looking at it like a project that may have otherwise taken 6 months previously. We're seeing and hearing things like, hey, it's taking, 40% longer, 100% longer. So that 5-month project could be pushed out to, 10 months or a year.
And what about contractors, manufacturers, project managers, who's part of the building envelope?
If you're a contractor, manufacturer, we've seen some extreme patience, patience with us, Sheffield Metals as a company. So God bless our contractors and God bless our customers because they've been really understanding through a lot of this, but I think it's something that is across the industry, is that it's really difficult to get things right now. I think people see it, whether they're at the grocery store or whether they're trying to get some projects done. So people are understanding and understand things are taking a little bit longer. They understand that something that might have been a 2 or 3 day turnaround time or a 6-week turnaround time is taking a little bit longer. So it's really about communication. That's all and about the quality of the experience that people are going to have is, we're going to communicate the best we can when we have good information to communicate people to. So.
And what about architects? Because inevitably, some products aren't going to be available. Some might take longer to get. What should they be considering?
Yeah, so one of the big things, and we talked about paint earlier, is there is definitively a PVDF shortage, a Kynar shortage. What we're going to start seeing into 2022, I don't know that anybody really knows. However, I think people are going to start trying to switch to other products, from a PVDF to another product. I think if I'm an architect and you want that high-end coating, you want that coating that's going to be highly fade resistant, highly, basically the cream of the crop, you want that PVDF. So I think there's going to be slower, longer lead times, particularly as it relates to our bread and butter product. If you're looking at an SMP or a polyester product, you may be hearing about, hey, should I go and use that? Is that an adequate substitute? Maybe. I think it really depends on your project. But by and large, an SMP and a polyester for sure is nowhere near the color retention that a PVDF paint or a Kynar paint is going to have.
So wrapping it up here, let's talk about 2022 for everybody.
Sure.
What do you see as the outlook for 2022?
I don't really have that answer. I think what you'd like to see in 2022 is supply chains gradually getting caught up. market stabilizing gradually. You know, you don't want any just dramatic shifts. So if the cost of steel drops 20% in a month, that would be staggering, and that would not be good for the market. The hope is that there's going to be some gradual stabilization throughout the economy. You're going to want to start seeing supply chains catching up. You're going to want to start seeing import goods coming in at a greater rate than they are. So really, the biggest strategy I think anybody could have going into the future, and this is probably for any time, but particularly right now, this has probably been the most chaotic 18 to 24 months, is stay informed, stay in the know. You know, I think communicate to your customer, communicate to your supply chain people the best you can, be forthright with information. Yep. If anything has taught us the last year and a half or so, it really has been chaotic. So, you know, deal with the chaos and work it through your business and keep driving forward.
And if you want to stay up to date with the latest news and industry trends, make sure you subscribe here to the Metal Roofing channel. We're going to keep doing updates just like this. Adam, thanks so much.
Yeah,
a lot of great information. Comment down below if you have any questions. And as always, I'm Thad Barnette, and we'll catch you next time.